Today, there are almost 4,000 children in foster care, just in Miami. 45% are under the age of 5, and close to 1,000 have no one to speak for them. What this means is that tonight, while we're here, close to 2,000 children will go to bed with no bedtime story, no one tucking them in, and no kiss goodnight. At the Voices for Children Foundation, we change these children's lives. Through volunteers called Guardians Ad Litem, we represent them in court. These children have been removed because their lives are in danger. As part of my job, I get to meet with a lot of donors for whom I have great admiration and respect. But to be honest with you, the part of my job I enjoy the most is spending time with the kids. From them, I have learned that there is a tremendous amount of power in truth. And when they share their stories, they make peace with their past. So today, I'm here, standing on this red dot, with one purpose, and that is to own my story and to share it with you. I was born in Colombia into a family where the two people that I love the most in the world could not love each other. There was a lot of alcohol abuse, verbal abuse, and physical abuse between my parents. I was often scared. Sometimes I thought that they were going to really hurt each other. One day, when I was 9, my mother did the best thing she could do for herself. She left. She moved from Colombia to the U.S. and left my sister and I with our father. This broke my heart in a million pieces. My grandmother, who loved to pray, told me that if I prayed hard enough and with enough faith, I would have the family that I always wanted. So I prayed a lot, hoping that a miracle would happen. About a year and a half after my mother had left, she went back for us. But she took us away from my father. And my heart was broken again. At 12 years old, I kept asking myself, why couldn't I just live with the two people that I love the most in the world? We moved to Houston, and I didn't speak a word of English. I was often bullied because of that. I became angry, and I hated everything and everyone, especially myself. One day, a couple of classmates offered me a way to numb my feelings. And that opened the door to a whole new world where I didn't need to be loved by anyone. But my life became a runaway train. I bounced back and forth from Colombia to the States because neither of my parents could control me. I was put into the care of others. And I became angrier and angrier. I kept wondering why it was that my life seemed so hard. I lived the next 10 years as a survivor until one day I was at the point where the only answer seemed to be to throw in the towel. I was with a friend who was as lost and lonely as I was, and we were determined to end it all. But it wasn't my time. Something inside me told me to call my mother for help, and I did. She went to get me and checked me into a rehab center. At 24, I felt like I was getting a second chance at life It seemed like the worst was behind me, and in many ways, it was. But I was still angry at God. I had two questions which had gone unanswered for a very long time. The first was, why wouldn't God answer my prayers? And the second one was, what was the purpose of my life? Rainer Maria Rilke, the German writer, poet, and philosopher, once said that you have to be patient with the unresolved questions in your heart. I was patient, and I moved on with my life. I worked hard, went to college, and I met a lot of people who have opened doors for me, which have helped me get to where I am today. But I was still angry. I met a woman, an incredible woman, who I married 12 years ago, and we have 4 beautiful and amazing children who will never see or go through what I had to go through. You would think that this is enough for me to make peace with God, but it wasn't. About 4 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and she knew that she was reaching the end of her journey. She asked me to call my father because she wanted to speak to him before she left this world. My father flew in from Colombia, and one night, as my wife, my father, and I surrounded my mother's bed, we said a prayer. And afterwards, my mother and father hugged each other, and they wouldn't let go. For the first time, I saw the love and peace that I had always wanted to see. So it took me 4 decades to understand that God answers prayers in His time and not in mine. And that I had to go through everything that I went through so I could be the good husband and father that I try to be. I told you that she was incredible and that they were beautiful. As far as the second question about the purpose in my life, that gets answered every time I'm able to give a little hope to someone who feels as lost, lonely, and angry as I felt. Thank you.